Do you think he like what is giving you the optimism that Jalen's going to have a 4,000-yard passing season? I think that's a really great question. What's the optimism that you see for him to have 4,000 yards because you had A.J. Brown? How many people – here, let me ask you this one. How many people think Tua Tagovailoa is going to throw for 4,000 yards? Who has a better chance of throwing for 4,000 yards, Tua or Jalen Hurts? See, this is the power. Silence. This is what leaders do. They let it start that simmer. See? Take notes, Xander. You can learn a lesson here. This is what leaders do. Survey the room. Size everyone up. What kind of folks are going to be jumping in here today? Football fans, sports fans, Americans. That's who we want. Come on in here, man. Pull up a chair, sit down. You want to comment? All good. If not, sit back. Whatever ever on your boggle. This is the National Football Show. We appreciate everybody coming aboard. What are we now? How many days out are we from training camp? 11? 11 days from training camp. Over under on list. I don't know if you'll consider – very interesting, Jeremiah. Very interesting. I don't know. Big Sil's in the house. You too, William. You're in the house, brother. Liz, got you guys going, right? Afternoon, Mike. Tyreek Hill, gone is 1,000 yards, gone from Mahomes total. Absolutely easy money. You think Tyreek Hill is going to put up 1,000 yards with Tua Tagovailoa? I want to see it. 11 more days to training camp. Mike says, my mother used to make the big giant meatballs, but my wife's meatballs are much smaller. Still good, though. The size matter. That is a phenomenal meatball question. I do think size matters. I don't think you can have like a moon rock as a meatball. You know, I don't think you can have a moon rock. You know? A meatball should fit like in the palm of your hand. And it should be made with bread, egg, Parmesan cheese, Italian parsley, okay? Some garlic. You can't have a moon rock. That's more of a moon rock, dude. Okay? Small meatballs, man. In the sauce, it absorbs it better, too. You can't have a gigantic meatball in your... I think size matters, bro. I think size matters. Absolutely. I'd rather have it smaller. Hey, Gigi, Xander, the tagline of the show for the week. Great show. You're horrible, Sileo. Well, you're probably going to think that I'm really horrible here in a minute. And by the way, Xander subscribes to that. Oh, yeah, Showtime. Phenomenal meatball question. Actually, one of the absolute best meatballs questions that you can have. Don't forget, too, day-old bread and Italian bread to boot to make them meatballs. Don't make white guy meatballs. I went over to my my mother's or my wife's mother's house. She told me she made meatballs. I shook my head, and Kim goes like this. I just eat them. And I'm like, I can't. I won't. I'm not eating that. And then they're like, try them. I'm like, I'm just not doing that. I'm not eating that meatball. I go to a restaurant. Somebody orders me, and that's not working for me, man. My aunt, my wife, and God rest her soul, my grandmother on her meatballs. Other than that, dog, not happening. Not happening. All right. Let's get into it here. Enough with meatball talk. Well, unless you're listening to the Ultimate Meatball. Thank you. So Tiki Barber, yeah, baby, WFAN New York, rival to the Philadelphia Eagles, says that executives in the NFL say that Jalen Hurts has a noodle arm. A noodle arm. Do I agree with Tiki Barber, the most hated man in New York Giant history? You ever wonder? Tiki Barber tried to come back and play, and no one would give him an opportunity because nobody liked him. Anyway, noodle arm is what executives reportedly are calling your boy Jalen Hurts. Damn. A national media guy calling Jalen Hurts a noodle arm. Interesting. Devin says he has a strong arm. It's in his timing. It has some noodle to it. Easy money. That's a great one. Hey, you're on fire today, dog. You are on fire today. It's got some noodle to it. Hey, did Donovan McNabb have some noodle to that arm of his? I thought that guy sometimes played more like Larry Bowa, didn't he? Throwing grounders. This guy was playing infield catch sometimes, wasn't Donovan McNabb? Some of those dirt worms he threw. This guy was killing worms. How many times did he kill worms when he was throwing footballs? He's strong, not a strong arm. Decent at best. Can he process the defense and get the rock out on time? Hurts says too much windup in his... Holy shit. Wait a minute. You guys are breaking this down. I mean, I'm starting to agree with you. Hang on. I didn't really think about making it a topic. I just wanted you to give your opinion on what you thought Tiki Barber. I think Tiki Barber's comments, I think they're classic. I do think a lot of people think that about him. I do think they think he has a noodle arm. I do think they think he can't read defenses and that he's a very effective athletic quarterback like Colin Kaepernick was. That's my assessment too. I kind of agree with Tiki. I don't know about noodle arm though, because I've never really seen him have to really win a game throwing the ball if he's a noodle arm. There's my boy Trev, 203 Canes, 954 Canes. Let's go. Trev, you think Jalen Hurts has a noodle arm? Easy, Michael. I like Larry Bowa too, man. Hey, Sills, I know you wouldn't start your show with that today. Yeah. Does the Tiki hang out with housewives in New Jersey? I'm not sure to answer that. I'm not sure. I'm not going to go near Tiki Barber and his extramarital, or his relationship affairs. I don't know. Sills, let's make a friendly wager, says Brandon. Let's see what your wager is. What are you ponying up, my friend? Yeah, and Tiki had fumble problems. Tiki is fighting to keep his job, so throwing crap against the wall, hoping it sticks, says Bob. Noodle arm depends on the coverage. We should have signed Foles back. You know, Rome? Probably. But you know what they have? They have a guy who's a pretty big asset in Gardner Minshew as a backup right now. A lot of teams want him, including Seattle. Colts wanted him too, offered up a third rounder for him, and Howie didn't want to budge off it yet. He thinks he's going to keep him towards the trading deadline as we get into the regular season. I think that's what he truly thinks. And he'll trade him either going into the trading deadline during the season, or he'll trade him going into the draft. I think you're going to see that. Because then you can easily turn around and go to Jalen Hurts and have Jalen Hurts be your backup, or you just let him walk out the building. Miguel, appreciate you coming aboard. Trevor, that's a mean blow, dog. Tiki and Michael Strahan having a lot of fun in the 2000s in divorce court. Yeah, hey, thank God. Hey, all I'll say this to you, Trevor. Thank God those two don't have to see Judge Judy. Or he'd be penniless. Hurts solidifies his starting position by week 6. If not, name your price. Hang on. Let's see week 6. Let's see week 6. Let's see here. Week 6. So you're telling me by Cowboy week, he beats the Cowboys. I say they're 3-3 going into the bye. By the way, our good friend Kyle Whittingham in hour number 3, we're going to try to catch up with him. He's in Los Angeles. So 5:30 Eastern, talk some college football with the head coach. I think they'll probably end up winning the Pac-12 or what's left of that thing. So we want to talk with him and get his thoughts and his spin and get his comments on all. So we'll talk to Kyle Whittingham. College football is going to be absolutely amazing. It's going to be amazing, okay, this coming football season. So we look forward to that. Appreciate everybody coming in here. Make sure you please hit the like button. So, okay, well, let me ask you this. Friendly wager. What do you think they're going to be going into the bye? Arizona is week 5. That's the Cardinals. Canes better win the ACC before you start talking SEC. You better be Wake Forest. Wake Forest, good night. That's so sad, Trevor. We're talking Wake Forest and my Canes. Wake Forest in my day was roadkill. It was like the Citadel. Wake Forest. Foles can't sustain excellence over a long span. You're right, Lenny. He's a very streaky player. Okay? Absolutely. Absolutely. There's no question about it that I think that, look, Foles, you talk about him being one of the best players when it comes to being one of the greatest substitute teachers of all time. He is absolutely one of the best of all time. That was one of the greatest runs. And by the way, even the year after with the Alshon Jeffries guy, that was also a great run. And so I look at it, and I'm looking at those stats. The guy plays great in the postseason. Plus, you've got a winning record versus Tom Brady. I mean, the guy is absolutely a phenomenal postseason player, and he's a lot like Eli Manning if you think of Foles. Week before your brag week, I believe in Hurts, though. Sincerely, I think he's going to be special this season. Rome, tell me how you see that. Where in his history have you seen where – is this just a gut feeling? Is this undefeated what? Do you think he – like what is giving you the optimism that Jalen's going to have a 4,000-yard passing season? I think that's a really great question. What's the optimism that you see for him to have 4,000 yards because you had A.J. Brown? What do you? How many people – here, let me ask you this one. How many people think Tua Tagovailoa is going to throw for 4,000 yards? Who has a better chance of throwing for 4,000 yards, Tua or Jalen Hurts? Let me get a piece of paper for that one. By the way, we're going to look at week 2, Minnesota Vikings. We're going to go through all the games, and we're going to look at the teams that the Eagles are going to play on their schedule this year. So we're going to get into that here in a minute. Who do you think has a 4,000-yard passing season? Jalen Waddle had 100 catches last year. Now you add Tyreek Hill. You got a pretty decent tight end down there too, one of the top 10 tight ends, according to Pro Football Focus. Offensive line got better. They got that O-lineman from the New Orleans Saints. Okay? Who has a better shot? Trevor says he thinks it's a draw. Draw what? Do they both get 4,000? I don't think either gets 4,000. I'm with you. William, I don't think neither has it. Then again, I don't think both those quarterbacks are the guys in the future of those respected football teams. Brendan says, Sills, most of Tua's will be yak yards. Optimism lies on the fact that this is Hurts' first time since high school that he had the same offensive system in back-to-back years. But Meta, every time somebody tells me that, and every time somebody starts barking that, I go like this. It's not like he's been coached by horrible people or had horrible personnel settings. This guy had Calvin Ridley, Devontae Smith in Alabama. He had other dudes that were on that Bama staff, and he had Steve Sarkisian and Nick Saban as his coaches. Then he had Lincoln Riley at Oklahoma. Then he had Doug Peterson. I mean, we're not talking about slouch coaches here. I would make this point to you that he's had probably I won't say worse. He's probably had the least experienced head coach and offensive coordinator since he was at Alabama. And the current staff he has now in Philadelphia. Do you think here, let me ask you this. Do you think he's getting better coaching today than he did at Alabama or at Oklahoma? You think Jalen Hurts is getting better coaching today? I don't know. I don't think so. There's a reason that guy makes $13 million at Alabama, and that guy now makes $13 million at Southern Cal. He had two coaches making $26 million combined. Shit, the lesser guy is the head coach in Philly. So he's got lesser coaches in Philly than he did at Alabama and in Norman, Oklahoma. Flex goes, how did Saban do in the NFL? Not the point. The point is that the level that he was at, he got the very best of it. Saban's the greatest college football coach of all time. Saban's mistake, Flex, was that there was a person by the name of Ireland, Jeff Ireland, the general manager of the Miami Dolphins, and he was in the building. And every one of those guys, including Saban, made the mistake of taking Dante Culpepper over Drew Brees. 99.9% of the football teams would have done the same thing. Culpepper had hurt a knee, not his arm. Brees had hurt his shoulder. They said he'd never play again. That's the thing with Sean Payton. Everyone crowned Sean Payton as this great coach. He got lucky. Could that Taysom Hill deal? If that's any indication on how he sees that position, I am a little weary on giving him personnel decisions. Why would you give Taysom Hill $10 million a year? He's a gadget guy. Why in the world would you do that? You wouldn't. Pro level coaching compared to college. Yeah, then Devin, why does Saban make 3 times the money Sirianni makes? Why does Lincoln Riley make 3 times the money Sirianni makes? Ain't like that anymore, my friends. Nick Saban makes $13 million a year. Your boy makes $4 million. Congratulations. What's the point again? The guy at Oklahoma State, Mike Gundy, makes $9 million a year. It's college and pro. I'll tell you what, that paycheck ain't college and pro. The top 25 college football coaches making more money than the top 25 NFL coaches. That's a fact. Look it up. USA Today prints the numbers all the time. I mean, you could tell me all you want about the pros. Why is Nick Saban then making the most money of any coach in the NFL outside of Bill Belichick? And the guy at USC is right there with him now. Because Sirianni's not proven, so he is a lesser coach then. You think if Saban got a job, hey, how about this? If Nick Saban got a job in the NFL today, how much money do you think you'd have to pay him? Sandra, how much money do you think Nick Saban would command if an NFL franchise wanted to hire Nick Saban for 3 years as a head coach? How much money do you think it cost him? $15 million? How much money do you think? And by the way, Nick Saban's greatest asset is building offense and defensive staffs. And the majority of the guys that are at Alabama are NFL and college football guys. The offensive coordinator is a dude that has a pretty damn good record as an NFL head coach of Bill O'Brien. I get it, Brandon. Brendan, I get it. You'd have to pay Saban $20 million out of the gate for 3 years. You have to give him almost $100 million. He ain't leaving Alabama. You're right, he ain't leaving it. Why would he leave a gravy train? So get this. Now you have Tiki Barber talking crap on Noodle Arm Hurts. That's not... Tiki's calling him Noodle Arm Hurts. Damn. Man, it's been no respect. 3.5 point spread. I mean, everyone's saying that Jalen, he could be the guy that holds everyone back. Man. All right. Let's move this over to the Vikings. Man. Jalen gets no respect, but that's okay. Hey, Trevor, that's right. Hey, Tiki, before you start talking shit on Jalen, how much shit are you not talking on Daniel Jones because you guys air Giant games? Yeah, you know what? Someone should turn around and call in and go like this on WFAN to that guy. So you're trying to tell me you'd rather have Daniel Jones and Jalen Hurts quarterback in the New York Giants? Because I surely wouldn't. I surely wouldn't. I'd be like, Daniel Jones. Okay. I don't think so. He's Dave Brown 2.0. Remember I said that on draft night? Daniel Jones would turn out to be Dave Brown 2.0. And it's exactly what he turned out to be. He turned out to be that dude 2.0. Okay. Dave Brown, who the other quarterback they drafted out of Duke. Right. That guy. Anyway, let's get into the Minnesota Vikings. This is the week 2 and home opener for the Philadelphia Eagles this coming 2022. Xander a couple months ago said something about this football team, and he goes, this could be a dark horse team. The more you go into it, the more you think they can be a very good football team. Do you guys know the record of Mike Zimmer as head coach of the Minnesota Vikings? Do you guys know what his record was when he got fired? Do you know what his record was? 72-56-1. I don't know about you. That's not too shabby. 72-56-1 under Mike Zimmer. Now you're turning it over to Kevin O'Connell, who comes in from the Rams organization. He's 72-56-1. You know what I've said? In my opinion, okay, the Vikings were good. They were just not good enough. And by the way, I'm shocked by 72-56-1. Hey, Slasher, Kirk Cousins is the problem. I'm going to prove to you that he had one of the top 3 quarterbacking seasons last year in the NFL. It wasn't the offense. It was clearly the defense. You got 74-59-1. Okay, I had 72-56-1. That's his record? Well, Trev, since you said it, I believe it 100%. 74-59-1. You fire that? You fire that? Do they have a ring? I think not. Okay. Jerry Jones hasn't been to an NFC championship game in 27 years. Okay. Andy Reid didn't win shit in Philadelphia. That made him a bad coach. Did that make Andy Reid a bad coach? He didn't win a ring. Oh, he's got one now in Kansas City. So he's good in Kansas City, but he sucked in Philly? I don't think so. What's good, Omar? 2-3 in the playoffs? Hey, Sean Payton's 9-7 in the playoffs. Not like he's got some stellar record. Okay, I mean, but 74-59-1, and you fire him and Rick Spielman, the general manager, and you bring in a new regime because Ziggy Wilf wants to see it get to the next level. I agree. Understood. You can't limp around sometimes like the Vikings have done in the past. Matt Nagy got beat up, right? I'll tell you what, 74-59-1. Some of the coaches have been fired lately for some of the crappy-ass records. That's a pretty damn good record by Mike Zimmer. Mike Zimmer is going to get another opportunity to coach somewhere again. Okay? Whose side am I on? I don't know what you're talking about. Did you know Vikings head coach Kevin O'Connor was a quarterback coach when Cousins was in Washington? I did not know that. Zimmer's quarterback history under center, Matt Castle, Teddy Bridgewater, wow. And he still won. Trevor, great takes. Great takes. Way to add today, man. The locker room probably wasn't listening to him anymore. I don't know. You're pretty – I mean, dude, you're almost 20 games north of 500 and you got blown out? Okay. Cousins signs a one-year contract, $35 million. He signed an extension in the offseason here. You know the one thing with the new coach, Kevin O'Connell? He comes from the Rams system. I want to throw this at you here. And by the way, this is the week 2 opponent for the Eagles. Isn't it true you think Sean McVay tries to get all of the offensive stars to football? Odell Beckham, obviously Cooper Kupp. They try to do their very best to get their star players the ball. And I think you're going to see a lot of that up in Minnesota with Kevin O'Connell because he comes out of that play calling system like that they're going to do everything in their power they can to get the ball to Dalvin Cook and Justin Jefferson and also Adam Thielen. Even KJ Osborne, too. They got a pretty good offensive attack. In my opinion, I said this to you before, I think the Philadelphia Eagles season is going to tell us a lot once this game is completed and we see 60 minutes of football here. It's going to be a pretty good football game here. I love the fact that they got the pass rusher kid from the Packers. What was his name? Trevor's the kid Smith. Zadarius Smith, is that his name? The kid that they signed that contract with. And they brought him in. You put him on the other side of Daniel Hunter. You got a pretty good looking pass rushing group here. And it's on Monday Night Football? Absolutely, man. Okay, Goddard has the top 3 yards per catch for tight ends ever. That will be Hurts' security blanket. He will also open up the back end so Hurts could get 4,000. Never in a billion years will he get 4,000 passing yards. He'll never do that in his entire quarterbacking career, ever. Oh, he's got 17 games. Okay, got 17 games. But I'm saying it right now. He will never throw for 4,000 yards in his career. You can print that. Ever. Now, I think that's going to lead to a good pass rush here for the Vikings. They're going back and forth to try to figure out if they're going to be better in a 34 or a 43 defense. But because of these 2 pass rushers here, okay, bitter, no. I got you going to the NFC Championship game, Solo. In spite of your guy. That's a rough take. Why? You've only had one in the history of your franchise. And that's not as talented as a quarterback as you've ever had, from Randall Cunningham to McNabb to Vic. Shit, to even Wentz did it. Wentz did it once. 4-3 wins defenses, wins championships. Absolutely. Okay. It'll be over by halftime. Minnesota will be way ahead. They've improved defensively, in my opinion. Wait, who will never throw for 4,000? Jalen Hurts, ever. But this is the most talented group any quarterback we've had. Yeah, but this is the least talented quarterback you've ever had with the most talent. This is the least talented passing quarterback you've ever had. And maybe, for sure, under the Howie Roseman regime, he is the least talented quarterback throwing the ball since 2000 when Howie got in the building. Am I wrong? Shit, Foles won an MVP award. He could throw it. McNabb could throw it. Vic could throw it. All right? Nate Sudfeld could throw it. And Carson sucked. Well, the year he threw for 4,000 yards, you guys didn't have one dude on the team with 1,000 yards. And the last 1,000 receiving yard guy you had was 2014. Merry Christmas. I don't know. Kevin Cobb had a talented team. Kevin Cobb. Jesus criminy. I forgot that. Here's some stats on Kirk Cousins that you guys say suck. Listen to this. Do you know the Minnesota Vikings had the least interceptions of any football team in 2021? And it wasn't because they were dinking and dunking. Do you know that Kirk Cousins was third in yards per attempt with 8.1, according to Pro Football Focus, in the league? So he was throwing the deepest passes on a game day basis and turning the ball over the least. That's why he ranked third last year, according to Pro Football Focus, in quarterback play. It wasn't him. It was that sieve of a defense that gave up all those yards last year. I think they were 8-9. This guy was like the fourth-ranked quarterback in the league. Justin Jefferson's a stud. KJ Osborne is really coming into himself. He just signed a contract extension with Minnesota. This is a pretty good-looking football team this year. I think it's going to all come down to whether or not they can stop people on the other side of the ball, because that was the case and wasn't the case a year ago. Okay? Oh, okay. Yeah, that's it. Easy Money says that your boy Jalen Hurts is going to turn into Josh Allen. I'll take that bet. What do you want to bet on that? What do you want to bet he never looks like Josh Allen in your life? What do you want to bet on that? John goes 35-14 Vikings. Damn, man, I'm not going there yet. Even Shady McCoy said, I saw 2 practices and knew this guy was special. We're still debating whether your guy in Philly's the guy. 4,200 yards is the new average for quarterbacks to hit to be considered top half in today's passing happy NFL. 4,200 is 250 yards per game over 17. Paul, I think you're fair, and I think that's right. I think that's right. Who's to say Josh Allen will look good next season? Well, Nigel, me and everyone else in the league thinks that Josh Allen's going to win the MVP this year on the best rostered team in the NFL. King of content, back at it again. Sorry, I'm late. I'm not back at nothing. I'm just talking about the Minnesota Vikings. And Tiki Barber calling your quarterback a noodle arm. Man, that even sounds harsh, doesn't it? Man, that's very harsh coming from a New York Giant. Noodle Arm Barber. Or no, excuse me, Noodle Arm Hurts. Damn. That's crazy. 24/7. So you're going to hold Justin Jefferson to 25 yards, right, Blackbird? Justin Jefferson. That guy, it's the Justin Jefferson, Jalen Reagor game in week 2 at the link. Noodle arm hurts. According to Tiki, not me. I'll take Josh Allen over Daniel Jones. Hey, dude, I'll take that guy, Carson Strong guy, or you know that guy that's holding a cup of ice on the Philadelphia Eagles bench. I'll take that guy over him. I'll take Nate Sudfeld. Is that his name, Nate Sudfeld? The guy who threw that game at the end of the season a couple years ago? Or not you, but how he threw the game? Yeah, you know how he threw that game. Mike Zimmer, 74-59-1. Wow. Noodle Arm Hurts. Dang. Hey, Trev, who were they? Trev, were they playing Washington when they threw that game? Were they playing Washington? I think they were playing Nate Sudfeld, baby. That guy's as notorious as Nick Foles, dude. On the record, Dan also thinks the measly Lions are going to give the Eagles problems. I never said that. Vegas did. It's 3.5. Your home game, or no, excuse me, your first game on the road at Ford Field is 3.5, according to USA Today. It's 3.5. I didn't say that. Vegas said you're going to struggle. I never said that. See how this guy took what? See how this, yeah, but he could squat 600 pounds. That's funny. Hey, how much do you think Peyton Manning could squat? 150 pounds? A broomstick? Hey, watch this. The two things that Jalen does better than Peyton Manning. Probably runs a fast 40. Probably around 4.8, 4.7. What do you think Peyton Manning ran a 40 in? 5.7? What do you think Peyton Manning could squat? A broom? 125 pounds? Them chicken legs of his? What do you think he could squat? But Jalen can squat 600. Oh, okay. Great. Looks good in Gold's Gym. Like it. Lions 17, Eagles 13. Come on, John. You're not being optimistic enough. Lions were 12-5 against the spread. They did get murdered last year by the Eagles, though, bro. It's 4.5 now. 4.5. Wow, that Lions team, who won 4 games last year? How many games did the Lions win last year? Remember I said this. DeAndre Swift. Just remember, on this day, July 15th, just remember I said, okay? Just remember I said DeAndre Swift. Squatting quarterback. They're always great. Lions 11, Eagles 6. Bro, what is that? Canada football? They were 3-13-1. And you're only favored by 4.5 over a shitty team like the Lions. I don't know. Hurts is a running back with passing skill set. Quarterbacks like Jalen Hurts, D. Jones, Baker Mayfield, Justin Fields, Trey Lance, the guy Mills and Texans, Mulata, Geno Smith, Drew Lock, Trubinsky, Darnold would not be starters 5 years ago. Paul, those guys are all Paul, that's a great get. That's a great get. All those guys are starters in today's NFL. Jesus, those are bums. Jalen's not a bum. That was last year? Shit. Man, all those guys are going to A Drew Lock. Yeah, one of those guys are going to start. Eagles better cover 9.5 week 1. Hey, it ain't 9.5. Dude, it ain't 9.5. We should win by 20. Win by 20? Wow. Hey, I've been having too much fun here. It is Friday. Should we do a list? Oh, yeah, we got a fun fact. Well, you may not call this a list, okay? You might not call this, but I'll ask you your opinion on the upcoming NFL season. We'll reset Noodle Arm Hurts. We'll also reset the Vikings set because I'll tell you what, do you really think you're going to beat that Vikings team in week 2? We'll do all that. Do me a favor. Please hit the like button. And also don't forget my friends at Morgan & Morgan where the fee is free. If you're hurt or injured on the job, one of the most important things that you could possibly do is get that attorney that you so need. Lazy, please repeat what you said about Hurts not for throwing for 1,000 yards for the record. He'll never throw for 1,000 yards in the history of his career. Okay? There you have it. Where was I? Oh, yeah, for the people. It's not a slogan. It's who they are. With over 800 attorneys in offices in Philly, New York, and in Florida, they're the biggest law firm in the country getting ready to do battle for you. And this is all that they do. They will not be intimidated, and there is no such thing, okay? No such thing as a small case. The call is free. The consultation is free. 800-512-1600. That's 800-512-1600. Open 24/7, 7 days a week. 800-512-1600. And when you call Morgan & Morgan, you tell them Big Sil sent you.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. When you're hit from behind in a car crash, the insurance company may try to say, you can't possibly be hurt. It was only a few miles an hour. It's simply not true. You see, here's the thing. Getting hit at 10 miles per hour is like falling off of this. 15 miles per hour, like this. And only 25 miles per hour, this. Injured, dial pound law. There's only one Morgan & Morgan.